Mount Pleasant showed the Lions no mercy. It was all square once again in Portmore, and it was a King's Day out for Cavalier out east. But we start one place and one place only, and that's at Catherine Hall, where it was no coach, no problem for Mobe. This is Match Week 26 Review Show.
Welcome back to Jam PL Fan. Marlon is out sick with the flu, so I am here to quickly guide you through this week round of games, starting at Catherine Hall, where Mobe United welcomed the visit of Tivoli Gardens. It was an okay start by both teams, but Barrington Price sure could have made it a smashing start for Tivoli if he had converted this chance. Mobe eventually settled, played some good football and even rattled the upright with this Phillips effort. More and more chances went begging for the home team until captain Wayne Turtleman Gordon broke the deadlock with this peach of a free kick in 30th minute. It had been some time since he last scored, but that was worth the wait. That goal freed up Mobe to play more silky football, but they never converted any more of their chances before the half-time whistle. They were still in control straight out of the tunnel in the second half as well, but despite look the more goal dangerous, that second goal eluded them. Tivoli, for their part, was trying their best to find an equaliser, making the home fans tense as the clock ticks away. But they got to breathe a huge sigh of relief in the 72nd minute when centre-back Jordan Brito cut the tension with a brilliant headed goal. After this, Tivoli made many attacking changes in hopes of still salvaging something from the game, but that left massive gaps at the back for a counter. And Mobe took full advantage. Phillips releasing Fletcher from half-line to race away one-on-one with Clark before calmly slotting past the keeper and into the back of the net. Game, set and match, but there was still time for the best goal of the night. Nicolia Fuller has been Tivoli's best player all night, and he would get his club a consolation with this amazing free kick in the 90th minute. But that's all Tivoli would get tonight as the game ended 3-1. Now let's take a look at the stats quickly. Mobe had more possession and also greatly outshot their Kingston opponent 18-4. 4 was on target for the home team and 3 was on target for the visitors. So with Zapata's sudden departure over the weekend, this was a good result for Mobe to keep fans' nerves in check. Once again, it ends Montego Bay United 3, Tivoli Gardens 1. Now we turn our attention to the first game in the double-header, where first place Mount Pleasant was taking on last place Humble Lion. And believe it or not, it was a decent start by the 14th place team, but Mount Pleasant quickly got into gear and got into their groove. They would even break the deadlock very early as a couple of kind deflections landed kindly for Daniel Green to slot it home and give the league leaders a lead. Moments after that, it was a sense of deja vu as another couple of kind deflections lead to a handball in the Humble Lion penalty area. Green was the man tasked with the job of taking it, and he tucked it away with ease for his and Mount Pleasant's second of the night. And honestly, after that, things were pretty laid back for the league leaders as they dominated possession, but they never found another goal before the break. But we didn't have to wait long for that third. In the 57th minute, Alex Marshall plucked a ball out of the air, came inside on his left before unleashing a rocket past Harrison and into the back of the net, 3-0. And it had been so easy, so much so that Tapper Withmore could throw on a 16-year-old onto the pitch who went ahead and did this. A smashing shot from Jabari Howell and a clear sign that Mount Pleasant were just flexing at this point. Humble Lion was soundly beat, but you would hope they would have left with some pride intact. Nope, that was gone too after giving up a goal like this, but Green won't care as that is his hat-trick completed. Thankfully, the final whistle came not too long after this to save us all the time. The stats won't paint a pretty picture either, but here they are on the screen. No surprise, Mount Pleasant led in possession and total shots. But look at the shots on target. Wow, it was always going to be a difficult task for Humble Lion to defeat Mount Pleasant, but this was a gutless performance. They need to shake this off quickly or they will only be seeing Drax Hall again in Tier 2. Once again, it ended 5-0. We move on to a Clarendon derby that's being held in Kingston, strangely enough, as Chapleton Maroons took on Vere Phoenix United. And it was the Maroons who started much better, rushing Vere into mistakes and controlling the ball well. But youngster Denzel McKenzie and Tyreek Magee were now beginning to see more of the ball, and the two would combine in the 15th minute for this amazing goal. Simply great stuff from the kid that's destined for Europe in the near future. That goal also spooked the Maroons as they played some very sloppy football after constantly turning the ball over, and Vere had honestly been up at least 2 to 3 goals by the half-time break, but they missed their chances, so 1-0 it remained. Second half now, and clearly the Maroons got a stern talking to as they came out much better out of the tunnel. But again, Tyreek Magee had the best chance to score the next goal of the game, but his shot was saved by Plunkett in goal. As the game went on, Chapleton Maroons looked more and more dangerous as Vere went into a defensive shell. But the Maroons' best chances were all coming from set pieces, including this one where Vere's goalkeeper pulled off a miraculous save to keep his team's slender lead intact. But the Maroons would eventually get their equaliser. A free kick just outside the box is perfect range for the veteran Andrew Vanzi, who dispatched it so easily that he would have you think you were watching a video game. One all in the dying moments, and a massive goal that may have an important role in the relegation battle. Now that's the game, and here are the stats. Both teams were pretty close in possession as well as total shots, but the Maroons had more on target, 4-2. So I felt this was one of Vere's best games this season and may deserve more from the game base on that first half alone. But credit to the Maroons, they never gave up and got a good point in the end. Once again, it ended in 1-1 stalemate. We now head to Portmore for the latest edition of the Portmore Derby. As Racing was taking on Portmore United, it was a very combative opening to this game as both teams started with great energy. Racing seemed the one looking more likely to find the first goal, as they will often spring new attacker Andre Clennon in the channels, but they never quite tested Williams in goal. Portmore, for their part, looked to have the match dragged to their own pace as they feel their way into the game. But they will take the lead in somewhat surprising fashion with a good square into the box, an equally good header by Cardell Bembo. 1-0 and some work to do for Racing. They tried, fought well and created some decent half chances for the rest of the first half and the beginning of the second half, but they could not get past Williams in goal. Deep into the second half, they would create another big chance down the left-hand channel, but again, Williams did well to keep his team into the lead, but special players often produce special things. In the 89th minute, Nicol Ellis pulled off this amazing run and volley to give his team a share of the spoils right at the death. So it was an enthralling end to this Portmore derby, but how was the game in stats? Both teams were basically even on possession, but Portmore United outshot Racing 13-8. 3 on target for Racing and 4 on target for Portmore. So Racing's unbeaten run continues, but they missed a big chance to gain ground on the top 6. While Portmore, these many games being back-to-back is bringing their squad depth into question. Sticking in Portmore, we move down the road for our next game as Dunbeholden was hosting 6th place Waterhouse, and honestly, there wasn't much in this game to speak of. Dunbeholden stuck with their now common 5-man backline, which was always going to prove difficult breakdown on this narrow pitch. Waterhouse struggled to create any meaningful chances, but the same could be said about the home team. The game was just drifting along until Dunbeholden was gifted a free kick just outside the box deep in the second half. And perhaps it was poetic justice, but former Waterhouse player Damien Binns rose highest and nod in a later winner for his new team. There would be no retaliation from Waterhouse as the game came to an end not long after that. Now let's quickly look at the stats. Both teams were on par in terms of possession and were pretty close in total shots taken. They also had only 1 shot on target each as defence won this day. So it wasn't pretty. Dunbeholden continues their major move away from the relegation zone under new coach Harold Thomas. While Waterhouse must start look over their shoulder in that last playoff spot. If they are not careful, they may miss out on the post-season party. Once again, this game ended 1-0 to Dunbeholden. We move on to our next game where Cavalier was taking on Molynes United. The last time these two faced each other, it was a comfortable 5-0 victory for Cavalier. and they started out this match as if they were hell-bent at repeating that result. They created numerous chance after chance, but somehow they got nothing past Robinson in goal. The half-time whistle would come to Molynes' rescue as both teams entered the tunnel at 0-0, but Cavalier were relentless and got that breakthrough in the 52nd minute when Busy Atkinson raced onto a ball, round Robinson, and then calmly placed the ball in the empty net. 1-0, and it was goal that was coming for some time. Robinson's horror show in goal would continue as he failed to hold on to a simple ball that was swung into the box and dropped it at the feet of the very lucky Justin Dunn to double Cavalier's lead. Molynes showed some fight after that with this McGregor free kick that drew out a spectacular save from Vino Bartlett, but Cavalier will eventually finish them off for good with this delightful free kick from Richard King in the 87th minute, 3-0, and that's all she wrote from this match. So let's look at the stats. Both teams actually weren't far apart on possession, but Cavalier greatly outshot Molynes 17-7. They had 5 of those on target compared to Molynes 3. Yeah, so Cavalier must be wishing they can play this team every week because they always dominate. But more importantly, it's great to see Dwayne Atkinson back on the pitch and even scoring. Now on to our final game as the Stars of the East welcomed a visit from the Junglist. Harbour started the game much the better from minute 1, even testing Tyrone Williams in the Arnett goal very early. They would continue to dominate play, but they were sucker punched in the face on the 24th minute. Jaheim Thomas did well to take down the ball before going at the Harbour backline and then unleashing an unstoppable shot that found the top corner to give Arnett the lead. To Harbour credit, they roared back and gave it their all to create some chances to get back into the match. But no matter how hard they tried, getting past Williams was simply not written in the stars. This even as Arnett hanged on for a hard-fought 1-0 victory at the compound. Here's the game in figures. No surprise Harbour had more possession, more total shots and more shots on target in this one. So it was another game where Arnett Gardens were far from their best, but yet again they claim 3 points, which is a good sign. While Harbour sure, it is disappointing to not get anything from this game, but if they continue to play like this, they might just escape relegation.
This is all right here on this latest match week review show. Thank you all for watching, and please like, subscribe and share as we look to keep you all up to date on everything in the JPL leading up to the final in May. Otherwise, for great JPL content, you're already at the right place. JPL Fun. YouTube, pick up yourself.